Welcome to another episode of Books and Bytes. Today, we're doing a deep dive into just a monumental classic, Richard Adams's Watership Down. We're looking especially at the graphic novel adaptation too, which brings it to life visually. Our mission, like always, is to pull out the key insights, the core story beats, and maybe some surprising details from this really compelling narrative, basically giving you a shortcut to understanding what makes this book tick. So, get ready. We're going to explore this world of survival, leadership, sheer cunning as we unpack the trials and triumphs of these extraordinary rabbits.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Where does this whole journey kick off? It's not with some grand plan, is it? It's actually this really unsettling discovery.
That's right. It starts on what should be just a peaceful summer evening. You've got Hazel and Fiver, two rabbits, and they stumble across something wrong, freshly disturbed ground.
And it's not subtle. It's two piles of earth and these huge posts. Heavy posts, reeking of creosote and paint, casting this long shadow. You can almost smell it, that chemical smell cutting through the grass. And there's even tools left behind. A hammer, nails, clearly human, clearly recent.
It immediately sets this tone of unease, doesn't it? That quiet evening just shattered.
Completely shattered. And it's the scale of it. These aren't small changes. They're big man-made things that just violently interrupt the landscape. And then, of course, the sign itself.
Ah, the sign, with those sharp, hard letters that cut straight as black knives.
Exactly. And it reads, "This ideally situated estate comprising 6 acres of excellent building land is to be developed with high-class modern residences by Such and Martin Limited of Newbury Berks."
So stark. Nature versus this human plan to just pave it over for fancy houses.
And Fiver, his reaction is immediate and intense. The graphic novel shows him just shivered and cowered down. He's almost paralyzed, can't even go underground. It's way more than just normal fear. I mean, it really shows this incredibly deep connection Fiver has to his environment, like an early warning system gone haywire.
Like he feels it in his bones.
Exactly. Rabbits in this story are shown as super sensitive to danger, to imbalances, and Fiver feels it most strongly. His fear isn't just an emotion. It's like this primal knowledge that something catastrophic is coming. He tries to go into a burrow, and he physically can't because something feels so wrong inside. It's like the land itself is screaming a warning, and Fiver's the only one hearing it loud and clear.
Wow. And that intense feeling, that premonition Fiver has, it really sets everything in motion. Hazel starts questioning things, asking himself, what am I lying here for? He even references Xenophon, which is amazing.
It gives his internal struggle this unexpected weight, doesn't it?
Yeah. He knows they can't just wait around. But Fiver's vision alone wouldn't have been enough, right? Hazel's leadership is different. How does he manage to act on it, especially when you compare him to, say, the Chief Rabbit?
All right, the Chief Rabbit trio. His reaction is so telling. When Hazel and Fiver try to warn him, his voice gets that sharper note. He just dismisses them.
Typical bureaucracy, maybe?
Sort of. He represents that established power that doesn't want to hear bad news, that resists change. It's that classic conflict.
Yeah.
The rigid hierarchy versus the uncomfortable truth tellers. It makes it really hard for the group to face reality, especially when the warning comes from someone like Fiver, who's seen as odd, or Hazel, who's not high up in the Ausla. 3 years' indifference is basically what forces them to leave.
It pushes them out. And it's not just Fiver's intuition. Blackberry has this moment too.
Yeah, Blackberry notices the sign as like a rabbit mark, but from men. A message. It shows they're capable of interpreting unfamiliar things. You know, they have this innate intelligence.
But Dandelion brings it back. 3-year-old just isn't listening, so they have to go. It starts as a warning, becomes a rebellion.
And it takes real courage for that initial group, Hazel, Fiver, Blackberry, Dandelion, Pipkin, a few others, to actually leave. It's not just about having the idea. It's about taking that leap into the unknown.
Which brings us to Bigwig. He's Ausla, he's tough, but he's really torn.
He is. He says that great line, "You feel terrified to stay and I feel terrified to go." It makes him so relatable. You feel that conflict.
Yeah, stay and face certain doom, or go and face who knows what. And that little detail, him eating the burnet leaf slowly to hide his fear.
Speaks volumes. He's scared, but he won't show it. That's his kind of courage. And his reason for joining isn't just fear. He's pragmatic. He knows life is tough for rabbits not in the Ausla and the warrens overcrowded. Too many bucks.
So it's also about seeking a better life, not just escaping death.
Exactly. It's a rebellion against a bad situation as much as it is an escape from danger. His courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about acting despite the fear, because he sees no good future where he is. That makes him essential, even if he was reluctant at first.
Okay, so they're off. The exodus begins. And straight away, they're relying on their own culture, their stories, to navigate this. Dandelion introduces the Lapine language.
Which is fascinating. Rare for a lot. You hear the 1,000 for all their enemies, Lael, fox, stoat, man, everything. And Horu, little 1,000. For a small rabbit.
It's more than just words, isn't it? It shapes how they see the world.
Totally. It's their history, their survival guide, all rolled into one. And Dandelion tells the story of Frith, the sun god, and Elorira, the rabbit trickster hero. How Frith blessed Elorira's backside, his tail and legs for speed and cunning.
And promised, your people shall never be destroyed.
Right. This isn't just a bedtime story. It's their core belief system. All the world will be your enemy, but first they must catch you. Be cunning and full of tricks, and your people shall never be destroyed. It gives them a reason for the struggle and the belief they can overcome it through cleverness. It gives meaning to the constant danger.
And they need that meaning immediately because right after the story, bam, danger.
Yeah, instant tests. They run straight into a laundry, a badger. The description is chilling, long dog-like head, striped black and white, jaws grinning, savage cunning.
It's so abrupt. Comforting story, then immediate visceral threat. Really drives home that 1,000 enemies reality.
It absolutely does. Myth gives them strength, but the danger is real and constant. It's that cycle. Hope, story, then immediate peril. Survival is moment to moment.
And the perils keep coming. They manage to escape the badger, but then they hit a massive obstacle, literally, the river Enborn.
Yeah, Hazel finds it, and to them it's huge. 12 to 15 feet wide, maybe 2 or 3 feet deep, but it seemed immense. Unimaginable.
Bigwig just panics. Cross it! Who's going to cross it? What do you want to cross it for? You can feel their despair. Rabbits aren't exactly swimmers.
Not by choice, no. And they're exhausted. Pipkin especially is barely keeping up, described as more panic-stricken and helpless than any rabbit he had ever seen. Swimming is out of the question.
This is where Blackberry steps up, right? The aha moment.
Yeah. Exactly. He sees this piece of flatwood, a plank, probably washed downstream, and he makes the connection. Remember how he noted men's signs were messages? Now he sees this human-made object.
And figures out it floats?
Right. He says it must have drifted down the river, so it floats. We could put Fiver and Pipkin on it and make it float again. It's sheer brilliance, applying observation in a totally new way. His strength isn't fighting, it's thinking outside the box.
Hazel initially thinks he's crazy, though. He's near despair, thinking Blackberry's gone out of his mind with all the stress.
Understandable. I mean, using wood to cross water, it's completely alien to them. But they manage it somehow. It's chaotic, but they get across.
And afterwards, that little moment where Hazel pulls the thorn out of Pipkin's paw?
Yes, a long and thick thorn. It's Hazel being the caregiver, the leader who looks after his group. And Pipkin feels better, feels that sense of no one's going to leave anyone else behind. It really strengthens their bond.
It shows leadership is about more than just big ideas. It's about that care and building trust.
Definitely. Blackberry had the idea, but Hazel's leadership and the group's trust made it happen. It's all about combining those different skills.
Okay, river crossed. Surely they get a break now.
Not quite. Next up, another human danger. They hear a gunshot. Panic.
And Bigwig knows what it means.
He does. There's a road there then. He knows about the Rudu, their word for cars, machines. He learned about them when he used to raid gardens near roads for the chief rabbit.
So his past, slightly risky behavior gives him useful knowledge now.
Exactly. He tells Hazel, if you had been stealing lettuces, you'd have learned about roads. They're Ilil then, all right? It highlights how different experiences bring different valuable skills to the group. Bigwig's street smarts versus Hazel's perhaps more conventional Warren experience.
Shows danger isn't just foxes and badgers. It's technology, too.
Right. A different kind of Ilil. They need all kinds of knowledge to survive this increasingly complex world they're moving through.
The journey is just relentless. Through deep mires, tough woods, they're exhausted. But then, finally, a bit of hope. They reach a fair green way.
Yes, and then they find Cowslip's warren. And it seems perfect, almost too perfect. It's described as conspicuous. The rabbits are sleek and unusually large.
Bigwig's amazed, right? Every living creature for miles must know that's there.
It feels like finding paradise after everything they've been through.
It really does, like that quote, a land in which it seemed always afternoon, just ease and plenty. And the way these rabbits communicate is strange, too. Hazel notices they don't really talk much. They just sort of mingle.
Getting the feel of each other, smells, movements, rhythm.
Exactly. It's this deep, nonverbal, sensory way of understanding each other, which sounds lovely, but There's an undercurrent.
Yeah, the red flags start waving pretty quickly. They hear things like, we never need to dig.
Which is just wrong for a rabbit.
Oh.
Digging is fundamental. Then the really shocking bit. A man shot a predator, a hamba, for them. He kills owls too. We never need to dig.
Okay, so why is a man helping rabbits? What's the catch? It implies this terrible bargain. Safety from predators, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Their freedom, their basic rabbit nature. They're dependent.
It's a trap disguised as help. And
Yeah.
Strawberry, one of the Warren rabbits, is evasive when Hazel asks simple questions like where.
Right. Hazel feels something's off, notes Strawberry's preoccupied air, and there's talk of never being near a shape, this vague, ominous term for something terrible.
Food the flera brought by the man. It's good food, but they have to be out and about, vulnerable to get it.
It's a gilded cage, comfort traded for autonomy, and ultimately for safety, ironically.
And Fiver sees right through it, even though Cowslip isn't technically lying.
Right. Fiver says there isn't any trick. He speaks the truth. But then he calls it a great mist of folly that covers the whole sky. He sees the deeper deception.
And then that terrifying image. Did I say the roof of that hall was made of bones? No, it's like a great mist of folly. The graphic novel must make that chilling.
Oh, it does. The bones metaphor is stark. Their comfort is built on death, the death of rabbits caught in snares, which is the unspoken price of the man's protection. It's the uh-oh moment, crystal clear and horrifying.
And immediately, proof. Bigwig gets caught.
Yes, a wire snare. A convulsion shook him. Wet earth and blood. It's brutal, visceral proof of Fiver's vision. The trap is sprung.
Hazel and Blackberry scramble to save him, digging at the peg. It's frantic.
And then Cowslip's betrayal is just awful. He tells Fiver to shut up. Hills or inlay, it's all one to me where you go, and then scratches him. Just pure callousness, showing how broken these rabbits are.
But Bigwig survives, and he's furious. I'll kill him.
That raw strength and loyalty just shine through. They escape, leaving the splintered peg and twisted wire behind. A grim reminder of the easy life they almost fell for.
That whole experience must have fundamentally changed how they thought about safety and home.
Absolutely. They learned that true safety comes from freedom and self-reliance, not from depending on others, especially humans. It defines what they're looking for, a real home, on their own terms, no matter how hard it is.
So after escaping that nightmare, they finally find Watership Down. What's it like?
It's perfect for them. High up, a precipitous wall on one side, clear views all around, a thin belt of trees at the foot, but the ridge itself is open.
Defensible. A man, a fox, even a rabbit coming over the down would be conspicuous.
Exactly. Fiver was right again. Here, their natural awareness is their best defense. The land works with them. You get this sense of natural rhythm, insects, birdsong, moving light, a total contrast to Cowslip's silence and unnatural order.
And they build a proper warren, the honeycomb, among strong beech roots. Strawberry helps with that, using his digging knowledge.
Yeah, it shows integration, community building. They're finally creating a real home.
There's a huge problem they somehow missed.
The unspoken truth. Hazel realizes it. Do you remember Nildrohane? He asked Bigwig, referring to a doe back home. And we have no does not one, and no does means no kittens, and in a few years, no warren.
Wow. How could they overlook something so fundamental?
The book explains it well. Men have made the same mistake, left the whole business out of account. For the rabbits, living close to death, survival mode just took over completely. They were so focused on escaping immediate danger, Thrira, the journey, Cowslip, that the long-term future, actually continuing the warren, got pushed aside.
Survival blindness, focused on the next step, not the whole path.
Pretty much. It's a powerful lesson about how crisis can narrow your vision, sometimes fatally.
This leads to another unexpected twist. Kihar, the injured gull.
Right. They find him, and Hazel, showing real vision and compassion, decides they should help him. Bigwig's skeptical at first, but goes along.
Hazel even sees it strategically. If anyone finds an animal or bird that isn't an enemy in need of help, for goodness sakes, don't miss the opportunity. Don't waste resources, even unlikely ones.
And Kihar turns out to be an incredible resource. He can fly, he can see things they can't possibly see. Hazel gets it immediately. That bird could find out in a day what we couldn't discover for ourselves in 1,000.
Instant aerial reconnaissance.
Exactly. And Kihar reports back. Bad news first. He's no rabbits. He's nuttings on the main down. No easy solution there. But then, rabbits live in box, live vid men on a nearby farm.
Hutch rabbits, which sets up the next big challenge. Yeah, the hutch rabbits seem like an answer, but Hazel quickly realizes it's too dangerous. Cats, the farm environment. It's not viable for starting a wild warren. They need wild does.
Which means a much riskier plan. And just as they're grappling with this, Holly arrives.
Staggering in, injured, exhausted, and he brings news of Ephrafa.
And it's terrifying news. Ephrafa is the polar opposite of Watership Down. It's a militarized, totalitarian warren run by the terrifying General Woundwort.
Holly describes this rigid system, the Marks groups constantly on patrol, controlled movement.
Extreme control. They even control hraka, droppings, only allowed in specific places underground. Constant demands for marks to identify rabbits' total surveillance. Freedom is non-existent. Rabbits might go days without seeing the sun, frith. They live underground, playing, mating, everything under strict control.
Sounds suffocating.
It is, and dangerous. The wide patrols have high casualties, but Woundwort justifies it all as necessary for peace and security. The classic strongman argument.
And despite the deaths, it's overcrowded.
Severely. Which leads to discontent, especially among the does, like Hazel, Shine Du Fur. That name itself sounds like longing for light and freedom. They're apparently reabsorbing litters because there's just no space or future for them.
So Hazel hears this about the overcrowding and discontented does.
And a plan forms, a really audacious one. Send a small group to Ephrafa, find these unhappy does and try to help them escape. He's banking on that internal pressure, that desperation.
Blackberry points out the danger. 2 or 3 days' journey, and we're all in danger, both going and coming.
It's a huge risk. And Holly, who just escaped Ephrafa, is dead against it. No one can get a bunch of does away from that place, he says. He knows how tight Woundwort's control is.
So you have Hazel's bold strategy versus Holly's grim experience.
And this is where Bigwig steps up again, bigger than ever. He volunteers to go undercover, to infiltrate Ephrafa.
Seriously? Just walk in.
Inspired by the story of Elarara disguising himself in the king's lettuce, he figures he can use his strength and Owsla background to bluff his way in, then plan an escape from the inside. It's incredibly brave.
What are his interactions with Woundwort like?
Tense. Woundwort is impressed by Bigwig's size and fighting talk. He tries to recruit him, even gives him the nickname Thlayli Furhead. Woundwort recognizes power, but he completely misjudges Bigwig's loyalty. He thinks everyone can be controlled or bought.
He doesn't understand freedom.
Not at all. Meanwhile, Bigwig is secretly working with Kihar on this intricate escape plan. Kihar's job is to create a massive diversion from the air attack the sentries near the river crossing. Bigwig will lead the does to a specific meeting point, the Big Arch.
And they need the boat again.
Yes, the punt. Blackberry's innovation is key again. They need it ready for a quick getaway across the river. But there's huge suspense. Hizensle worries their plan's been discovered. The pressure is immense.
Okay, the escape itself, how does it go down?
It's nail-biting. Bigwig's waiting by the river as sunset fades. Heavy clouds dim the afterlight. The move is tense.
Then Kihar attacks.
Like a storm. Diving, screeching, attacking the sentries, causing chaos. Bigwig seizes the moment, gathers them, does Hizensle thinning others, and makes a break for the arch.
But Woundwort realizes what's happening.
Instantly. He and his best Owsla are in pursuit. Woundwort absolutely enraged, shouting he'll blind Bigwig when he catches him. It's a frantic race.
They make it to the river to the punt.
Just barely. Kihar is shouting, he's finished poked, not vait more. Blackberry has it ready. They scramble aboard. It's pure chaos.
Yeah, and Hazel,
seeing the punt is overloaded or too slow, makes a split-second decision. He jumps into the river, pulling Pipkin with him, swimming for the bank despite the cold and current. Ultimate leadership by example, risking everything.
Incredible. They actually escaped Ephrafa.
They did. But Woundwort isn't giving up. He tracks them all the way to Watership Down.
So the final confrontation is on their home turf.
Yes. And Hazel has a plan. Block the entrances. We fill the holes in, good and thorough, then they have to dig us out. Use the warren's depth and the tree roots as defense. Buy time.
Turn their home into a fortress. Smart.
It forces the Ephraphans into a difficult siege. And inside, Bigwig has his legendary confrontation with Woundwort in one of the runs. Woundwort orders another rabbit, Vervain, to attack Bigwig, but Vervain is terrified. It shows Woundwort's control is cracking.
And Fiver, he does something unusual.
He lets out this terrifying, unnatural scream, something no rabbit should be able to do. It's psychic warfare, playing on their deepest fears. Then Fiver confronts Woundwort directly, small but defiant, saying, I am sorry for you, but you cannot blame us, for you came to kill us. It's a powerful moral stand.
But the siege is still intense. Hazel realizes they need something more drastic.
His final gamble, the dog from the farm. He decides to risk going back to the farm, finding the dog, and somehow letting it loose near the down.
That sounds insane, going back into human territory with cats and a dog.
It's utterly desperate. He knows it's probably suicide, but it's their only chance. He navigates the farmyard, the smells, the danger.
And gets injured.
Yes. He's found by Lucy, the farmer's daughter. A moment of unexpected kindness. She takes him to Dr. Adams.
Meanwhile, the dog.
They hear it catch a rat, that squealing. A grim foreshadowing of what it could do to rabbits. But then, another stroke of luck. Dr. Adams sees Hazel as a wild rabbit, resilient, and decides to release him back on Watership Down. Calls him Brer Rabbit.
So Hazel survives, and the dog.
Hazel manages to chew through its rope on the way back, or perhaps it was already loose. The dog follows, finds the Ephraphans digging at the warren, and chaos ensues.
The Everfans panic, scatter.
Utterly routed by this unexpected terror. Woundwort, though, obsessed, leads his patrol right towards the dog, refusing to flee. His fate is sealed by his own Custer-like refusal to yield.
So Watership Down survives. Woundwort is gone. What's the aftermath?
Victory and renewal. The warren thrives. And Blackavar, the rabbit they rescued from Ephrafa, becomes a key figure.
He was the one marked and tortured.
Yes. But now he's a respected veteran. His knowledge of Ephrafa helps them avoid future dangers. He's redeemed, fully integrated, shows the healing power of a free society.
And the warren grows.
It flourishes. The ending circles back to the El Arara myth. His children feed and play in his sight, for they are his friends, and he has promised them that they can never be destroyed. The promise is fulfilled.
And Hazel's ending.
It's beautiful. Years later, old and ready, he's visited by a spirit guide, perhaps El Arara himself, and accepts the invitation to join his Ausla. He peacefully passes away, watching his thriving warren, feeling his strength flow into the next generation. It's about legacy, continuity, a really moving end. It shows leadership isn't just about winning battles, but about creating something that lasts beyond you.
So, wrapping this up, what are the big takeaways from this incredible story? I mean, you've got Hazel's leadership, Bigwig's courage, Fiverr's intuition, Blackberry's intelligence.
And adaptability. Plus, that huge theme of community. No one's going to leave anyone else behind. That commitment is vital.
It really contrasts that oppressive order of Ephrafa with the messy, sometimes chaotic, but ultimately vibrant freedom of Watership Down.
And it makes you think, doesn't it? How much of their success was just rabbit instinct, and how much was their belief system, their stories, their bond? That resilience seems to come from both their nature and their culture.
Yeah, it's that mix of innate ability and the stories they tell themselves, the community they build. It's a powerful combination against all odds. What a journey. If this deep dive has hooked you, seriously, you need to experience the full story. Grab a copy of Watership Down, check the link in our description. And please, if you enjoyed this exploration, subscribe to Books and Bytes for more deep dives into fantastic books.